Now, as you know, there's several microfinance institutions that have gone down. There are several banks that have gone down. We'll try and understand the concepts, whether or not there's a difference. I have Ebenezer Quartey, who's Executive Secretary of Microcredit Association of Ghana, here in the studio. Mr. Quartey, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
I also have here in the studio Wilberforce Ofori. He's the board chairman of the Microcredit Association. They'll help us do that, have that conversation. Mr. Wilberforce, you're welcome as well.
Thank you, Gifty.
Okay, so you've seen the story, but first of all, help us understand. There's a difference between a microfinance institution and microcredit. Am I right?
Yes, you are right.
Okay, help us.
One is the subset of the other.
Okay.
So microfinance is the umbrella. Then under the umbrella, we have microcredit. Basically, microfinance has two legs, microsave and microcredit. Okay. So what we do as microcredit institution is to perform one of the legs of microfinance. And by that, we are looking at providing financial services to the economically active but poor people of our society.
Okay.
So we don't take or accept deposit in any form.
Okay. So what you do is that you have some money and then you give people credits from that money.
Exactly.
And they're supposed to pay back with credit with interest.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay. Well, help us understand the interest regime. How does it work like?
Yes. So the regulation provides for two sources of funding for our businesses, basically. One has to do with supporting the business with our own funds. And the other one requires that we can also borrow from the open market, basically from other financial institutions to on-lend to clients.
Okay. Let me come to you, Mr. Ofori, to find out from you. The Bank of Ghana has given you a deadline, which ends today, I believe.
Okay.
What do you make of this?
Yes, we have had a discussion with Bank of Ghana. About 2 weeks ago, we were at the Bank of Ghana. We discussed something with the heads of the department, and later we moved to Bank of Ghana. It's of the governor, and we met the governor and the directors. We discussed our issues with them, as you can hear our colleagues talking about. So they heard it. So it's not definite yet, but we are likely to hear from them.
Okay. But you told them about the difficulties you're having in terms of
we have been discussing it on and on and on.
Okay.
But I think the last meeting is what I'm talking about. 2 weeks ago, we were at the Bank of Ghana, the executives and the microfinance. We have microcredit and we have microfinance. We all went there. They also have the same 2 million, and they have similar challenges. So we discussed it with them. They seem to agree with us, and they said they'll come out. We are still waiting for them, and we are pushing that something will come out so that the fears and all those things will go down.
Okay. Well, we hope that works. But I'm looking at the Bank of Ghana's rationale. The Bank of Ghana's rationale to want to perhaps prop up the capital you have is obvious. Yes, exactly. It is to protect anybody else who is paying. I mean, if you don't have money to give to these people, in the same vein, they will still be hurt. I mean, they can't go about their business if you don't have money at the end of the day to give them the credit. And so I can understand where the Bank of Ghana is coming from. Don't you think that the Bank of Ghana has a legitimate position or concern when they want to raise the amount to that level so that you can just work towards it?
Yes, Gift, you are right. We agree that this is a regulated business. And basically, we are doing banking business. So regulation has to take place. But looking at our situation, what we do is to lend and lend only. So asking us to raise that amount creates some level of difficulty for us and for our operations. So what we are requesting Bank of Ghana to look at is, one, to review the minimum capital set by the regulator. But it's a humble plea we are making to the regulator. They have listened, as my board chair rightly mentioned. We have engaged. We are agents of Bank of Ghana. Okay. But the beauty about the relationship is that we are treated as partners. So we reason together, we have expressed our concerns and anxieties to them, and they have listened. We are asking that the amount is reviewed downwards for us. Okay. And the second one has to do with an extension so that it will give us some space to raise the minimum capital. But we would prefer that the 2 million is reviewed and moves.
Okay. So regarding the review of the amount downwards, Mr. Fori, what amount are you looking at beyond the 2 million cedis?
It's not 2 million. It was raised from 60 to 100, then 300, from 300 to 2 million.
It was 60 million?
60,000.
Or 60,000?
Then when we started, it was 60,000. That is
minimum.
Minimum.
Okay.
Then it came to 100. Then later 300. Then now 2 million. So we are saying that consider somebody in a village. Fortunately, we are spread over the country, all over the country. Every region we have our members there. Somebody in a typical village who wants to support those in that area. Our plea is that they don't need a 2 million. They need something to support them. And you, as you went around, you heard the report, what they are saying. Some are helping taxi drivers. Somebody, car engine got broken, he had to rush to them and they gave him. So in some areas, especially in the remote area, they don't need a 2 million. That is what we are saying. Okay. So we are speaking to BoG. We are not it's a plea. They are regulators. We work closely with them. But we are pleading that they should look at the figures and consider it. Giving a figure, I don't want to tie their hands. But it's
about what you can raise, because you have indicated they have given you a figure. They said 2 million.
Yes.
And the figure is way above what you can raise at the moment. So perhaps
right.
you can.
You are right. This is what is happening. As my chair rightly mentioned, you know, we are scattered across the country. We are over 500 member institutions and playing various roles in different sectors of the economy. Okay. So we are looking at the sectors that we are serving, and we're also looking at geography. And you can find us in every district of the country. So as Chair rightly mentioned, what we are looking at is let's assess the businesses on individual basis and see what we can do for them. Some of them, our members are operating in the urban and the villages. And the question we are asking is, can they be able to raise such an amount to play the role that, you know, or to play the role that they are serving, or that sector of the economy that they are also serving? Look, in every sector of the economy, you will find out some of our members, you know, performing specific roles to also, you know, develop our country. So this is what we are seeing. We have members who are serving in the agri-tech sector, providing loans to farmers in the agri sector. We have members who are also providing some form of loans to even fishmongers. Okay. 500 cedis, 1,000 cedis and all of that. So we ask ourselves, if members are being asked to raise such an amount, would they be able to do 2 million to serve this specific sectors of the economy? Do you have an idea what's going to happen if your engagements with Bank of Ghana does not yield your desired expectation? As in, have they given you an idea what they will do? Is there anything about closing down the companies? Yes, per the engagement we have had with them so far, we realized that microcredit is key to them, and it's very dear to their heart. Okay. So it's been very positive, it's been encouraging, and I think it has also been insightful for them, looking at what we do to understand what we do. So we are believing and trusting that we should hear a welcoming news from them sooner than later. Okay, so you're optimistic of some good news from the Bank of Ghana. Let's wrap up with this. They're asking you to raise 2 million. I heard a gentleman in the is the NGL credit say they have a thing about 60,000. I'm not quite sure. 600,000. 600,000 at this point. If they're asking for 2 million, if you put about 4 people together, you can raise well over 2 million cedis. Have you considered that option? Okay. Yes. A number of proposals have come up. Mergers and all of that, and also bringing other investors on board to show up the capital. That has been considered. Okay, and how is that going? We are still discussing, because there's this notion that it should be geographical mergers.
That is, those in the same area should merge. Yeah. So if you are in a particular area and you don't have it, but it's taking in good faith. We are discussing with our members as to how they do. But what we are also saying is that apart from the 2 million, they should also consider case by case. Somebody in a remote area and doing everything, going by the Bank of Ghana rules and regulation. What can we do to maintain the person, even if the person hasn't gotten the 2 million?
All right, all right. It sounds positive to me. I mean, I know that there are several. You look at this story, and it gives you a bigger, the bigger picture of how many people's lives are connected. I mean, I have a grandmother who sits in front of a little provision shop, and she doesn't really, I mean, need so much money. But she doesn't even, that's not really like, but for her, it's something that keeps her going every day. So that they don't, boredom doesn't kill them.
We may not have the numbers,
the number of credits.
But looking at impact and coverage, we are all over the country. And this is what we are also doing to develop the economy of this country. We may not have the numbers or the figures, but let's look at impact and coverage. Somebody may need 500 cedis, 200 cedis, 1,000 cedis. And this is microcredit. I think the engagement has been very good and positive. We are hoping and praying that in the not too distant future, we will hear welcoming news.
Okay, well, I hope that somebody from the Bank of Ghana is listening, or somebody from any of the oversight institutions are watching, and they'll be able to hear your plea out. And hopefully by next week, we should hear something.
Thank you so much.
And hopefully that will be positive.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gifty, for giving us the opportunity.
You're welcome.
We are so
Thank
grateful.
you very much. Ebenezer Korte is Executive Secretary, Microcredit Association, and Weber Fosofori is the board chair of the association there. They're looking at a deadline that ends today. The Bank of Ghana wants them to raise a minimum capital of 2 million cedis. Well, we know what has happened to other institutions that were not able to reach the minimum capital. They've been closed down. And so their fears are that if you close down these organizations, several poor people who are engaged in some sort of economic activity will go hungry. Several people will go hungry. And they're not people who need so much money. 500 cedis, 1,000 cedis. They say we have the money to give, but we cannot raise 200 cedis. I really hope that we get something good from this going forward.